In abbey shores where shadows play, the alley whispers night and day. In abomination, alleys grip, where fear and danger tightly knit. Oh, the alley breathes a tale untold of secrets dark and hearts grown cold. Abbey streets, they'll pull you in to the depths where sin begins.
Hello, and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, so of course that means we're playing Abomination Alley, our BRP actual play. I'll be your storyteller for the evening, Jason, and with me as usual will be Carr playing Teak, Eric playing Michael Anderson, Jeremy playing Salvador, Sarah playing Vivian, and Patrick playing Leo. And maybe some other people later, who knows.
Should they survive?
Yes. We won't go into details. It involves giving a cat appeal, so pray for them. Alright, who remembers what happened last week?
Shenanigans.
Yeah.
We negotiated peace, and then there was a drive-by.
Yeah.
Well, temporary peace. Truce. Temporary truce.
Yes, you got the Dwarven Brewers Guild and the Orc Mob in the same room. You presented police reports and your personal eyewitness testimony that the assaults they had suffered and the casualties they had taken were all due to a troll.
And not the ha-ha kind.
No.
But it is.
Though you don't know, Cletus might have a great sense of humor.
Maybe.
You were just involved in a tense situation.
I haven't heard his Type 5 yet.
Exactly.
We'll hunt him down for that later.
But yes. So you did manage to get that worked out. So maybe there won't be a full-fledged gang war. And then basically, as soon as he walked out the door, Boss Marduk gets shot.
Shot at.
No, he took a hit to the arm. He was injured.
Yeah, I had to patch him up.
Now, one of his men didn't make it. And several of the vehicles are going to need some work.
Cheeks, it sounds like it's right up your alley.
And I'm alive.
Oh,
Hey!
Hey!
we has a Charlie.
He got Duba really good.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh.
And the hand, first attempt, clawed, and I'm like,
You gotta
I
wrap him like
tried.
the angriest burrito.
I did, but the towel wasn't thick enough. So I grabbed a thicker towel and wrapped him up. He spit it out the first time, wrapped him up, and I actually got it because he had it by his tongue. So I had to move it down his throat. He didn't spit it up, so pill
good.
swallowed.
I want to continue to point out to the audience this is a cat, not a child.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a
cat.
feline. A
Kitty
feline
meow
that is
meow.
loved as much as a child, but not an actual human child.
Yes.
Kitty, kitty, meow, meow. How do you do? You know that.
Exactly.
All right. So we were just filling everybody in on what happened last week.
What has happened the entire month.
All right. What was the last thing you were here for, Epi?
We had just met everybody. Like mine and Duba's character.
Okay.
And then he went to go talk about the issues between the orcs and the dwarves. And that was kind of
That's
it.
right. So you two were here when the dust up between the orcs and the dwarves started.
Yes.
but gone by the time the crew figured out what was going on. So what it
Yes.
was there a troll had wandered into town.
Oh.
The troll, Cletus by name, Cletus Manrender,
Nice. Wholesome last name.
claims that he was attacked first in each situation. Which is possible. I mean, if you're a mobster and a troll steps around the corner, you may not wait to see if it's peaceful or not. But of course, both sides just thought the other one was starting some crap. Some of the guys managed to track the troll down. He had a dwarven child kind of hostage. Like a couple of kids had stumbled across him and he had, grabbed the one he could and one of them got away and he was trying to figure out what to do. Anyway. So Mr. Michael Anderson cuts a deal with him to get the child to safety and to get the troll's truck repaired so he can get out of town. Teak takes it to a local mob shop who kind of figures out what's going on. So the mob winds up jumping the troll. They lose a bunch of people. The police show up because Anderson immediately drove away from the scene as soon as the fight started. But that means there's official documentation that the troll was there. Anderson told everybody what he did. He is on administrative leave because the DA's office frowns on their people helping murder suspects escape. Even though his motivation was, it's a big troll in front of me with a gun as big as I am. Let's just get it out of town. But last week was they basically had the peace talks, explained everything to everybody, got things settled. The orc mob boss gets shot going out the door.
Oh God.
He survives. One of his men was not so fortunate. It looked like a dwarf standing in the back of a car shooting at them, but the driver of the car was human. And they sped off and got away.
The dwarf Brewers Guild leader also swore that it wasn't, and they take that kind of seriously.
They pretty much swore an oath that right then and there.
Said if it is one of my guys, I'll kill him myself.
I wonder if oaths are admissible in court.
I think dwarven court.
So we'll be picking up a month later, and we will go around and see what everybody has been doing in their downtime. I'm sure everybody has what they want to do in downtime prepared.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No, shoving a pill into a cat, so.
For the whole month you've been gone?
It's a really big pill.
Cruise, cruise, and then night shift.
All right, so let's start off with Teak.
The only thing that he has on his mind, he's just gonna train with Salvador in rifles.
You probably don't see Salvador a whole heck of a lot.
Well, that's fine. He would ask Salvador like where can he go to learn it, and I'm sure Salvador would know. So
probably recommend the range. Salvador's a little tied up.
Yep. So he'll do that. Other than that, Teek's just kind of going to lay low.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do his job
too much heat on him.
He's like, just lay low and learn how to use a rifle.
So you're hitting a rifle range, some rifle range outside town.
Yep.
Wearing a disguise.
Forgot what I needed to do to.
All right. Training. Hang on, I'm way down in the psychic powers. That's not where I need to be to find.
Yeah, that's what it is.
because I have no skill in rifles. Yay!
All right, that means you'd probably need to find somebody to train you.
Yep.
Since
why he
Salvador
would-
is ghosting you, you have to find somebody else.
I'm sure somebody at the range would teach him.
Ah, train skills 119. That's what I needed. All right. So yeah, the rifle range you're going to, they do offer, like a class sort of thing. Especially since Teak is really just kind of needing the beginner stuff.
Mm.
Let's see, an average character has 50 hours of time per week available for training. And this is, of course, assuming that you're hitting it hot and heavy.
Yep. If he's not at the range, he's probably chilling somewhere quiet.
All right, and your resources are fair to middle in it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's he's average.
Okay, so
As
you have
far
no
as
problem
wealth.
paying for a class to.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as no one gets him fired.
All right, let me look at young Mr. Teak.
I just filled in and left it blank for the firearm rifle skill because, as I said, I don't have anything in it. So
There should be a very, very base percent.
yeah, I don't know how to figure that out. It just says base chance as per weapon specialty, and I'm like, what's my base weapon specialty? Trying to find it.
Ranged is a manipulation skill. So if you have manipulation, or at least that's what it says on my end over here.
Well, if you're talking about like this range weapon specializations, that'd be under combat.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Which I believe is
they don't-
3 for Teak.
Yeah.
Wait, what's 3? Sorry.
Under the skill categories have kind of a base starting point.
Oh yeah, yours starts at 3. Okay. See where it says? Oh, maybe you don't see where.
Well,
but there's
now
the
I think Jason did something onto my sheet, so I have this.
I
other
pulled up
thing
these
here.
skills by category because that's where the list of category stuff is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so it says 3.
So you need to make a skill check with that 3.
Okay.
And you need to roll, and this is like an experience check, so you need to roll higher than 3.
So I just roll a D100.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
If you roll a 1, so help me.
That'd be really funny.
83.
Don't put that juju out there.
All right. So you had your base chance was in the 1 to 5 category, and 80. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter if you get a. There's no fumble. Well, there are fumbles. But there's no
Yeah.
criticals or special. So now you roll 1d6.
Yeah, it's a D6.
Yeah. You roll d6, and that's how much it improves by.
So it goes from a 3 to a 2.
So now for
5,
the
I mean?
for the rifle skill, yes, you now have a 5.
5.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Teak won't be using the rifle for a while.
Was never going to be. It was going to be slow and steady, buddy.
That's fine. I mean, he's just going to keep working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you do have we've got a month of downtime, so that was 1 week. That was your first week.
Okay. So
Now is this all he's going to concentrate on all 5 weeks? I mean, all 4 weeks.
yeah, he'll probably just do that for this month.
Okay. Go ahead and just give me some more rolls then.
Yep. So that's two more after this, or 1?
That'd be 2. It'd be 2 more.
Okay.
4 in
So,
total.
do-do-do-do.
Ooh, got
We'll
close.
see. Yeah.
All right.
So
So roll 3 more
3
d6s and it goes up by that much.
14.
14. Not bad.
So 19 on his firearm rifle.
For,
That's
for
that-
starting at nothing, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
bad at all.
It's like, as long as I could literally roll anything above a 20 unless I got like all sixes and been fine.
Mhm.
All right. And Rappy, be thinking of what you'd want Charlie to be doing in this time while I'm covering everybody else.
Okay.
Salvador, what are you spending your downtime doing?
I think day one of our downtime, I point Teak to a rifle range because like, I'm sorry, man, I'm gonna be a little busy this month
No, it's all
for
good.
a while, so I point him there. Maybe it's one that Salvador himself has been to, so he can put a name out just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to send some postage out.
And who are you mailing postage to?
Whoever picks up back home.
So you're just kind of sending it to the family.
I know where the family is. It's just hi, I'm alive. Sorry I couldn't talk to you while I was out there. I was kind of fighting a war.
It's 1925. The war's been over for a bit now.
Doesn't matter. No, he had to deal
We're
with
still
bugs
going
on
on in here,
Providence,
man.
No, he's he just kind of giving a brief. I say brief, but he's writing like 3 or 4 pages of like exposition of what's gone on so far.
So
his
you're
life.
filling them in on what exactly has gone down in the city.
More or less.
Okay.
Just, I am alive. If you see any reports of anything happening in America, I'm probably involved in it, and it's okay.
All right. So that takes you the first day. What else are you doing to avoid Teak?
I will be going back to Sarge. And kind of getting that like drill master's like mentality so that I can in the future better mold Teak.
So you're going to Sarge to be taught how to teach.
Yes.
Okay.
That I think Salvador over the weeks since our last downtime has been like, I'm genuinely surprised Teak picked anything up from what we learned. So he's going to go. He will go and sharpen up, as it were.
Okay. So Sarge starts giving you basically lessons on how to be a drill sergeant. At least the Army method for it.
Yeah.
So that would be your, let's see, I believe teaching is an actual skill.
Teach, yes. So I will. Boop. Okay. So that's. I'll probably do like a couple weeks of this. So.
All right. Well, that roll is 1 week then.
Yep. And I'll roll a d6. 6.
Nice. See, I told you the
And
dice
week
roll
2.
of you. Okay.
2.
Less impressive.
Yeah, it's still fine. Yeah, no, I think he's feeling it. He's getting back into the swing of things. Thanks Sarge, pays him for his time. Probably goes and gets him a burger or something. I imagine Sarge to be like much older.
Yeah, Spanish American
so.
War, not First World War.
Yeah, so I go, see if I kind of do that thing that you do in like old timey apprenticeship programs where you kind of like live in there for a little bit. So make sure he's needs are taken care of for those couple of weeks. Get him a burger from the diner.
Okay.
That sort of thing. And for the most part, for the rest of this, I'm just waiting to hear back. If I hear back.
You get a letter back in the last week.
Ooh. Okay.
It's kind of a collection of letters all kind of folded up together,
Oh, jeez. The whole
Uh,
family sent postage.
It's a box of letters.
It's not quite that bad. It's like three sheets or so.
Mhm.
Basically, it's one from your mother,
Mhm.
partially complaining about this being the first time you've managed to contact them at all.
Mhm.
Uh,
I needed a clean break.
but she's glad to hear you're doing what they have been hearing some disturbing rumors, specifically out of the city you say you're in.
Mhm.
Uh,
I would refer to it as Abbey Shores and not Abomination Alley.
yeah. Your father writes back. What do your parents do for a living?
I think at this point they're retired. Like they have it's that generational wealth thing where they kind of watch the estate at this point.
Okay. Was your father ever a military man?
No,
Mm.
they are not. They are they're more quasi I wouldn't say quasi religious. They are religious. It's more of the the deep elven traditions versus religion that we know in our world.
Okay. So they're not Catholic. They practice what's referred to as the forgotten religion.
Yes.
It's not forgotten. It's just the names of their gods are forgotten.
Yep. So all of the practices are still there.
Mm.
Yep.
So, yeah, your father has a lot of questions about what's gone down in Abbey Shores.
Mm-hmm.
Was it actual creatures of chaos, this, that, and the other? Because that's basically the devil of their religion is
devil, yeah.
things related to chaos. So.
I have literally shot Satan in the face many times.
So overall, he expresses that he's proud that you're there. He's both proud that you're there standing against it. He also hates the idea that you're there, that you're the one that is standing against it.
I think when I get that, I'll send one back that day. I will express that I'm not the only one here fighting against it. That there are others out. Salvador does not a great sketch by any means, but crude sketches of his allies.
Okay.
Mostly war buddies, but that's weird. That just happened on its own.
Yeah, I'm looking at his art skill. Yeah, it's crude sketches.
Yeah, it's very crude sketches, but it gets
You might do better
its
with
message
clippings from
across.
the newspaper.
That's true. I don't know that we have pictures, but Salvador is vain enough to keep newspaper clippings from stuff he's done.
And then
all
the
way
third
back
one
in,
is,
World War I.
It's like a combo litter of some of some of the younger cousins, some of the kids basically. The ones that are old enough to remember remember when you went off to the war at least.
Yep. And yeah, he'll mostly reply back. He'll put those two up, like the little cousin letters and whatnot. He'll put those up on like a little bulletin board he has in his apartment. But the other two he'll reply back and he'll put newspaper clippings in. And we'll tell them, yeah, unfortunately. He will also he will remark to his mom, Inez, I'm sorry for any time I didn't put stuff away.
The boogeyman's real.
They got me, Mom.
The boogeyman's real, and I shot it in the chest.
Repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what he's doing. He's just laying low and sending correspondence to his parents.
All right, Leo. I believe you had talked about wanting to find someone to train you.
Correct.
In the spiritual arts. And you had started that previously.
Yeah, with tutelage with my mother and a few of her, and basically a few of her other sort of
people who could train me. So
So you had caught wind of two possible places to check. One was a lady that lived north of town. Further research, you find out she's alive, but starting to suffer dementia, so she's really not available.
gotcha.
Who you are able to get in touch with is a John Crow.
John Crow. Let me go back to my sheet and write that down.
Who lives in the Bad River Reservation, which is just across the state line. Relatively close by. It's a little bit of a drive, but nothing.
Yeah.
Untoward. So you get out there and you speak to him. You get an orc wandering in, gets a few raised eyebrows. But you're dressed in your doctor best. But,
Yep.
when you explain to him what he wants, that you're wanting to train, and you've had some little bit of training, you'd like, to train because of what you've run into in town, and they've this close to the city, they've definitely heard what's been going down in the city.
Yeah.
He's seen the newspapers that reference you. You explain who you are, and he's heard. But he would like to know. Obviously you got drafted with what interrupted your initial training, but why you hadn't gone back to that until now.
Largely, it's because when my mother started training me, it was because I wanted to actually help people. And as I started to actually, during the war, I realized I didn't need it to actually help. I thought it was actually something that I didn't need. But the more I've encountered the brew, everything, even when I found the man wounded, killed by the arrow, part of me knew what it was, but I just couldn't see it. I believe I actually, in turning away and almost thinking that I didn't need it, I realized just how wrong I was about that.
I see. This is why you focused on more typical medical skills.
Correct.
But it seems the spirits had other plans for you.
When you apparently...
Oh, go ahead.
When you believe you hear about the brew your whole life and thinking they're not real, and then staring one right in the eye and being stabbed by one, believe me.
Yep, you can understand that.
Sometimes they are quiet, sometimes they are very loud.
His people have a few stories of such creatures, but really only because of the strange folk that they'd eventually interacted with.
Yeah.
He introduces you to his two apprentices, the two people the two other people that are apprenticing under him. One is his grandson, who's 12 or 13. He's just getting started. And the other is a centaur that's probably only a little bit younger than you. When Europeans made it to the New World, they were surprised to discover strange folk already here. Down in Central and South America, they ran into dragon newts, who they knew had existed in Europe, but it was thought they'd been wiped out early on.
And the fact that they were also clearly, in this case, native, surprised them greatly.
Well, it's clear they'd been living in the Americas for quite some time. The native people still spoke of them arriving You know, of not being, you know, having always been there. And then in North America, centaurs. Predominantly just in kind of the plains areas, you know, places that are good for horses. Though they were known to have appeared when everybody else did, they quickly moved up into kind of the Russian steppe, and Europeans kind of lost track of them. But they had basically made their way across the Russian steppe and eventually into Alaska and on down. So if you look up the history, it's, you know, it's a few hundred years after the strange folk arrive that centaurs started popping up in North America. But at that point, it was just a, you know, more natural migration. So those two groups have been intermingling for, you know, quite some time before Europe discovered the Americas. So you begin training under him. And while there's cultural differences and like how your mother trained you, how this guy trained you, the principles you're using are all the same. Because ultimately it is the same magic that you're using. You know, the exact language may be different, exactly what sort of markings you use and tools you use vary slightly, but and the first week is basically a refresher course on the basics. And what is it that you wish to learn from him in the rest of the downtime?
The one thing that I actually want to focus, because, like I said, when I first found the arrow, part of me knew what it was, but I couldn't actually see it. So the detect magic is what I'm focusing on.
Okay. And let's see, 19. All right. Now, in that first week, when he's, you know, when you get in your refresher course,
yeah,
he does ask you if you had awakened your fetch yet.
And at this stage, I actually have to say no. I've been largely drawing for most of my spells.
All right. Because most shamans will awaken a fetch fairly early.
Yeah.
And it is a sort of, you could almost think of it as like a spiritual familiar, you know, to put it in more familiar terms. You know, it can go off and do things. You have to permanently invest some of your POW points into it. Though when you are resisting things with your POW, you still count in the points from the fetch.
Okay.
But if you were like attacking something, you know, with your POW, then you're just using your specific.
Gotcha.
And your fetch can, independently of you, fight other spirits and stuff like that too. So, you know, if you make it too stout, you're lowering your available POW.
Oh.
But if you make it too weak, then it's not going to,
really not.
It's going to get whipped.
It's not really
anytime
useful.
it comes into conflict.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't have to make any decisions tonight. Be thinking about, you know, what you want to do with that. I think you've got the magic book, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, a lot of shaman spells also require objects. You know, you may have an amulet that you've carved, the special markings into, or a ring, or
Yeah, because I'm even looking at the detect magic. It talks about the fetish in this questions.
Mhm.
So
So, for example, that iron fist thing you've got, that could
Yeah.
easily be a ring or a bracelet. Would be
Okay.
the typical sort of thing you might have to you might have worn for that. But you won't detect magic. And the way that you learn a spell is you call forth a spirit that knows the spell, and then you have to engage it in spirit and win in spirit in a spiritual combat.
Yes.
Which
You have to
involves you
fist
leaving your
off the
body
ghost.
to do this.
I seek your guidance. Now fight me, Jimmy.
Well, you have to prove to the spirit that you are strong enough for this system.
Yeah.
The advantage of going to someone like a more experienced shaman is the fact that they will often have spirits on hand that know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the fighting part any easier. You still have to prove your worth.
It's just that you don't have to seek out the spirits
Right.
to
You don't
do
have to
it.
go spirit questing to try to find an appropriate spirit. So at the end of the second week, let me find. Which book was it that actually had the rules for spirit combat?
I believe that's the BRB magic book. Because I remember seeing
There it is, spirit combat.
captured spirits, exorcism, benefits of becoming. Yeah.
I think the rules in the main BRP book for psychic combat are probably pretty similar, but so what he does once he thinks you're ready, because this is not a. Let's see, you were doing the detect magic,
Yes.
which is only a 1-point spell. So it does not have to be a very powerful spirit for it to know this spell. So he uses his own power to help you out of your body. Something you'll learn to do on your own eventually. But
The whole Doctor Strange punch me out of the body. Gotcha.
it's a little less violent than that.
Yeah.
It's more like, performs the ceremony and then sort of touches you on the back of the head and sort of pushes the spirit out that way. Nudges you.
Backhands him.
All right, so you have to match your power against the power of the spirit. Both you and the spirit have to agree to enter into this combat. You're both basically stuck in this combat until you both agree to separate, or one of you is defeated.
It did.
Let's see.
We step into the square circle of magic.
Kind of. I mean, there's a campfire.
The tower of power too sweet to be sour.
All right.
This is where the cream of the crop floats to the top.
All right, so give me a power roll. That you would just, and like I said, this is a spirit that's worked with, been bound to and worked with the shaman for a long time. So, it's not actually angry with you or,
Yeah.
It's just part of the process.
Okay, I got a 55.
All right.
Which is a success.
And that was a 55 out of...
That should be a 70.
You're correct. So a 55 out of a 70
Where did-
is definitely a success.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, it's just a regular success. All right, it rolled a 69. Nice.
Yep.
But not as high, but not as low as it needed to. So, you know, your first little clash, you're coming out on top. Roll me a D3, and that's how many power
Yay.
points the spirit loses.
Oh, D3.
Or, you know, a D6 cut in half.
Yeah. So, 2.
All right, so its power goes down by 2. All right, give me another roll.
At least I'm consistent. 57.
Roll a 75. He's actually getting worse. So give me another D6 roll, or another D3.
3. 2 again.
All right, so 8 becomes 6.
Mm.
And, you know, as you know, the spirit takes the form.
I was about to ask what it looks like, so.
Visually, it takes a somewhat vaguely humanoid form, but like the features are a little unclear. Sometimes it looks kind of Native American. Sometimes it looks more orcish. You know, maybe one is what more people in this area would picture it as, and the orcish is more what you would picture it as. But it's not a very strong spirit. It doesn't have a really firm visual.
It's more amorphous than anything else.
Right. I mean, it's very clearly got arms because it's swinging at you. It's almost like a physical fight going on. But, you know, y'all are floating above this campfire. As you're doing that, you see a lot of other spirits gathered around the shaman. You know, the experienced shaman. Yeah, but they're not interfering. You're doing this over like a campfire, and outside the ring of light, kind of at the very edge of the light, you see a bunch of other spirits that seem to have been drawn by this conflict. But again, you're in an area that shamans use quite regularly, so there's probably more spirits just kind of hanging around than you'd find generally. All right, it presses the attack again.
Gosh, darn it.
I rolled 96 this time.
$61.
All right, and you needed under 70, so give me a D3 roll.
Haha, 3.
All right, it is on the ropes. It's like it's becoming more amorphous and having a harder time kind of holding itself together. And that would have been a pass if he'd rolled that the first round of combat. Give me one more, or hopefully just one more.
Ooh, that is a 10.
All right. Let's see, 10 out of, you said your score was 70, or that what you have to roll under a 70.
Correct.
All right, that makes it a special. Go ahead and roll the D6. Give me the full D6.
Wish it was the other time, because that would have been a 5. That is a 4.
All right, so you defeat the spirit, and it sort of evaporates. It's not permanently dead or anything.
Yeah,
it's the equivalent of knocking unconscious. Just like if it had drained all of your power points, you'd have just passed out.
Passed out, yeah.
I'll be back, Johnny. You owe me that cup of coffee.
And as
Wake up, samurai.
as it fades out, its knowledge passes to you.
You. All of a sudden, a lightning storm forms and Queen starts playing in the background.
No, it's not quite that dramatic.
Okay.
But John's down there. He's been watching you. Both the apprentices are there. The Centaur apprentice, who I'll give a name eventually if he needs one. He was watching it all. The grandson is kind of squinting. It's like he can tell something's going on, but he's obviously having trouble making out the details.
Okay.
But he is the complete rookie.
Yeah. We were having the DBZ fight, like from a distance. Like all of a sudden, we're all over the place.
But you settle back into your body, and despite how one-sided the fight was, there's still a little bit of fatigue. It's kind of the first time you've done that in a long time, anyway.
Yeah. It's probably when I was first learning the spells, I didn't even have this visual. Kind of like concentrating really hard.
But so yeah, John congratulates you. So you spent 2 weeks doing that. Is there anything you wanted to do in the following 2 weeks?
Let me. I'm trying to remember, because with me, I'd have to improve my POW to able to actually improve my spell casting. I'm trying to remember, how exactly do you go about that, per se?
It's a lot. This is actually something I believe works the same way, basically, as Eric's psionic abilities.
Okay.
You check it almost like a skill when you resist something with your POW.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's not anything you do using your POW. It's when you resist. Well, or specifically, I think when you resist something, like if that spirit had a higher POW than you.
Okay.
Then you would have checked it. It didn't. It had a lower one because it was specifically.
It was yeah. It was the training fight.
Yeah, if you want to make a boxing analogies, it's the jobber that's, not really supposed to go in there.
Yeah.
Knock out Tyson.
That's wrestling.
Fair. Well, they do the same sorts of things in boxing, though.
Yeah. It's just supposed to be more legitimate, so.
Yeah.
I have a question. I had a week where Salvador didn't do anything. Could you meditate to restore some of his POW? For that 1 week?
Did he lose POW at some point?
Yes.
Oh, that's right, because you use yours for luck. Yeah, you wouldn't have any trouble getting that back, I wouldn't think.
Okay. So I'm back up to full, or?
Trying to remember, was recovering POW complicated?
I thought it was just it recovered over time.
It was kind of like healing, yeah.
I think it did.
Okay.
So yeah, over the course of multiple weeks, you wouldn't have any trouble.
What are you resisting?
Work. I was moving my character sheet around because I wanted to look at the map real quick, and ended up hitting that button instead.
Resistance is futile.
I guess.
Succeeded in whatever you're doing.
All right. So let us jump over to Michael Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
What do you spend the first week doing?
Well, they've been having to deal with a lot of strange folks stuff. He's going to see if he can find another psionic that can another scion that can help him, maybe teach him astral projection.
Okay. Now, where some live in Chicago.
Yes, he does know where some live in Chicago.
I don't like that look there, Jason.
Now, is he going to make inquiries of these folks he knows in Chicago? Or is he trying to find somebody
right away?
He's going to try to find somebody local. He doesn't want to talk to them. right now.
I'm not sure to go
Fair enough.
find.
Fair enough. Give me an investigation roll.
What's the worst that could go wrong?
Okay. Investigate. Where is it?
Unless
Where
I
is
screwed up and
investigate?
named off something from.
There is not an investigate roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may be thinking Call of Cthulhu. Let's see. What would be a good streetwise sort of thing?
Streetwise is there. It's a knowledge skill.
It could be one of those many knowledge of Aries things.
Yeah.
You know what? An occult would probably help.
An occult.
Give me an occult roll.
Done.
All right. So you start poking around, and big cities, you're always going to have little, fortune tellers and
Mm-hmm.
shops that sell beads and crystals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snake oil salesman sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
So you start investigating some of these, fortune teller types.
Yeah.
And with your own abilities, it makes it a little bit easier to pick out the phonies.
Mm-hmm.
You find two that are legit.
Okay.
One probably doesn't realize she's legit. Her abilities are
Okay.
super weak, but probably just enough that she gets a really good read on people. She just thinks she's a really good con person, probably, but she's actually picking up, at least emotional cues from.
Yeah, so they kind of have like so she kind of has the whole like aura detection thing that Michael does.
Yeah, like I said, she definitely rates as weaker than you. So
she has the psychic vibe check.
The other one clearly knows what she's doing.
Mm.
She's playing with tarot cards when you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
She asks you what brings you to her shop.
I've come to expand my knowledge.
She's in there shuffling the cards. That's not usually how people word that sort of thing. But please have a seat.
He does.
Yeah. She points to the cost thing on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to know what your future holds? Do you wish to speak with those that have passed into the beyond? What is it that brings you here?
I'd like to learn how to see into the beyond.
She stops shuffling and she gives you a real hard look. You do have some potential.
I imagine it probably wouldn't be hard considering his power.
Oh yeah, his power is pretty. So what knowledge do you already possess?
Well, I've gone by the epithet of he who remembers.
Well, you got the flair for the dramatic, at least. Hold on a second. She goes up. She turns the open sign off, and where she's got kind of the mood lighting on, she just flips all the regular lights on.
Mm.
She's like, "This is gonna be more of a regular. This is gonna just be more of a conversation.
Mm.
We don't need all the showmanship." She takes the weird little, if you remember Gypsy from Pee Wee's Playhouse, it's kind of that kind of hat. She goes, "The touristy types, they like that sort of thing." She fixes some tea.
I'm sure they do. Other than that, I have some ability to read others beyond what one would normally be able to see.
Look at me. Tell me what you can get from me.
Okay. Work.
All right. So the ability doesn't kick in, and she
Yeah.
knows these things are not 100% reliable.
Mm.
She asks you if you know anyone else like us.
I've met one young woman that doesn't seem to know she's like us.
Oh,
I know of several down in Chicago, but that's it.
I've heard of some from Chicago. What was your name?
Between us,
Sure.
probably know me from my work with the DA. I'm Michael Anderson.
You got entangled up in some of the strange folk stuff lately. Yes. You've been in the paper.
I need to expand on my more supernatural ability to level the playing field, as it were.
I see. Yes. Strange folk don't really know what to make of us. The few that really know we exist.
And to my knowledge, they can't learn our arts.
I've never encountered any. I mean, it's hard to tell when they do magic, but there are certain telltale signs as to how they do what they do. I may wear crystals or whatnot, but it's just jewelry for me.
Just for show.
Yeah, it's what people expect. So what is it you need me to teach you? What is it or you just want to tap into whatever sort of potential you've got that might not be realized yet? Or did you have something specific in mind?
Of some potential, but it's not one I'm not ready to realize that. I would like to learn how to see into the beyond, to project myself.
Astral projection.
Uh,
That is something I know how to do. Now, doing so, it's not unsafe exactly. Think of it like walking in the woods. It's not especially unsafe, but there may be things out there you could potentially run into. Your more mystical type would refer to them as spirits, and that's as good a word as any.
Right.
What we'll get here in the city is a bit different than what you might get out in the woods, but ghosts certainly exist. Mostly they'll leave you alone, but there are probably, well, I've encountered a few haunted homes around here that I would not venture into.
If you wouldn't mind sharing those locations with me, I will know what to avoid.
She rattles off a couple of addresses for me. Do you need me to write that down?
My memory is the one thing that I was most heavily trained in.
I see. It's not a gift I have myself. I have to take notes. But yeah, she's known someone else like that. They could turn it on and just it's like they had just written it down.
Perhaps
You could
that
refer
could
back
be
to
my
it.
form of payment. I train you in that art, you train me in yours. And as a point of note, I do have an over 75% in eidetic memory, so I can train people.
Actually, yeah, she's good with that. Oh, and her name is Madame Zandra.
Zandra? Okay.
She's like Zandra is her actual name. The Madame Zandra is like her professional title.
Right.
That's the name on the door.
Right. She got little neon lights. I think he had neon lights in the 20s.
Me adding the note. And just for the memes, I put skilled scion willing to train Michael in the way.
Oh.
You're aging yourself, man. You're aging yourself.
I am.
Uh,
You say that as I think I'm the youngest here.
Possibly. All right, so you managed to find her in the first week.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you 3 full weeks of potential training.
Yes.
Let's see. Is there anything?
It's literally just a luck roll.
Oh yeah, because that's your straight power roll.
Yes, it's like, from what I say, it's like at the end of the training, I sacrifice a point of power and then make a luck roll. And if it succeeds, then I learn the skill.
All right. Well,
Or I don't know if it's I make the luck roll, and if it succeeds, then I sacrifice a point. I'm not sure. I know getting training, you sacrifice 1. And it's the auto, you just learn it through trauma, you sacrifice 2.
yeah,
But
okay. Well, I was trying to find where the psychic training was just to make sure. Go ahead and give me that luck roll.
Hold on. This is what I was asking. Is time required is equal to the psychic's POW minus 30 weeks.
Oh,
like,
that's right. That's what we were discussing earlier.
I was like, are you sure you didn't mean days?
All right, so your POW is 18.
Mm.
So that's 12 weeks.
Which would still be 3 months.
Well, then we will check off 1 month then.
Okay.
Because for the really long stuff like that, you can split up over multiple downtimes.
Mm. Gotcha.
As long as you don't skip multiple weeks, because you
Mm.
got to stay fairly focused.
Yep.
Oop, did we lose? Oh no, we just went. Let me fix the cameras right quick. There we go. All right. In addition to the training you're doing with her, you have to go in and give. Is it deposition? You have to go in and answer questions as they are investigating what all went down.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much told the entire truth initially.
Yeah.
So I assume you just stick with that you're not really trying to sugarcoat anything.
No. He's just honest about it. Being honest is his reputation, and that's what he's going to do.
All right. So in the last week, you have to appear before a panel.
Mhm.
You've been hearing rumors. The captain of the precinct seems to have spoken up in your favor.
Mhm.
Not that he was happy with what you did, but big monster,
Yeah.
trying to get stuff out of the city. Realized your error and immediately been cooperating with the police.
Mhm.
Your boss has spoken in your defense. The mayor has not spoken in your defense.
Well, of course not. He was he was prosecuting the mayor's girlfriend.
Just a friend and donor. Nasty rumors about having a mistress.
Mhm.
Yeah, donor.
Yeah.
If that was the case, his wife and her would not get along nearly so well.
Ah.
But you're allowed to
say
make
that-
kind of one last, one last statement to them. So if you were in defending yourself, what would how would you go about defending yourself? How would you try to convince these people that you should, you should keep your job?
So he's like in a courtroom or just like in a room with people who he's answering questions to.
It feels courtroomy like, but you're just in a meeting room basically.
Okay.
But it is like a 3-person panel on the other side of
Yeah.
the table quizzing you.
Mhm.
Since you work for the DA, these are all people from outside the city.
Yeah.
And just in vague terms is fine.
Yeah. Let's say me unprepared for an entire speech. So I guess vague terms, basically what he would do is say, he did realize his error, immediately went and spoke to the police and admitted it to his boss, the DA. He has a history of honesty and seeking justice in the city, that he would like to continue to do so, because he wants to see basically the city become a better place than it is now with all the chaos happening at the moment. And that he believes that doing so, working with the DA, is the best chance that he has to do so, and with his status working with the strange folk, he can kind of liaise between them in that regards.
Okay. Give me a persuade check.
Special.
Jesus.
Very good. So you see you see a couple of the guys nodding. It's all humans.
Mhm.
They're nodding. This, that, and the other. They ask you to step out of the room. They deliberate for about 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And of course, this is after weeks of investigation.
Yeah.
This isn't like you had one talk and they spent a half hour. But
Yeah, and like he pretty much held nothing back in that regard. He's like, hey, this is what happened, this was my thought process, this is what I did and why I did it. He was very honest about it.
So ultimately, what they decide is not to discharge you from your position. You are getting like a major, basically, reprime put into your record.
Yeah.
So if something like this happens again, even if it's not these guys investigating you, this will weigh poorly on you.
Yeah.
They give you a little chewing out over the decisions you made. But one of them does admit he's never come face to face with an actual monster, so they seem to be cutting you a little bit of slack because they're all thinking, okay, what would I do if a giant monster came up in my face? The instinct to just get him out of town, doesn't work within the legal system, but it seems like a natural human reaction.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a month kind of stressed out about this, and and then suddenly it's over. I mean, yeah, you may be on thin ice for a little bit because if anything else irregular shows up,
yeah,
they might be more likely to listen to the mayor. Luckily, being out of towners, the mayor himself didn't have a whole lot of sway with them.
Yeah.
So that sums up your week. Vivian.
Yes.
What were you going to spend your month doing?
Speed round. She is going to check up on both the dwarves and the orcs that may have been injured, just to kind of keep communication channels open.
Okay.
Also, we'll get the information about the two dwarven kids that they encountered with the troll to the gentleman that requested it.
Okay. You don't have
She
any trouble getting
will.
that from the police. They dropped them off at a children's home kind of thing.
Yeah. Make sure to. Is Zoot still in town?
As of the first week, yes.
She will update him in fairly vague terms. Won't go into like gruesome detail, like, oh yeah, we did this, and this, but just kind of keeping him in the loop, as they said they would. Put out feelers about any music organizations that may be hiring, symphony band, stuff like that.
Okay.
And the first-ish week, she will look at I can be like, I need an opinion.
Oh, what about?
I know you're full of them. I'm gonna go visit my parents. Just unannounced.
Well, when facing down the enemy, surprise can be an advantage.
Yeah. Should I walk or maybe ask someone for a ride? I'm debating if it would be a power play or not.
Who are you thinking about taking with you? Well, you said power play, so probably not Teak.
Teak had been on the list because Teak has a vehicle.
Well, I mean, yes, he could definitely drive. As far as it being a power play.
Yeah.
I mean, you've told me about how good a shot he is, but he doesn't necessarily look intimidating.
It doesn't look intimidating, but I mean,
nobody respects short guys. I mean, it's a shame.
He did stand up to the orc boss, but I don't think that would have gotten back to or impressed my parents.
No, probably not.
I don't know if Salvador has a vehicle. I don't know if Leo has a vehicle. Gives her a look like, I know what you're getting at. I know Michael has a vehicle, but he also has history.
That's fair. See, I don't know your parents really well.
Yeah, most of what I told you is probably knowing them and then hearing about them is two different things.
On the other hand, taking Michael with you could almost be like, like you're daring them to say something. If you're going in there wanting to argue.
I mean, I could just ask for a ride and maybe be like, "Hey, I'll meet you like in an hour." Or if I don't come out in an hour, call the others and come in guns blazing.
Are you expecting it to go violent? I mean,
I
when I
don't
say,
think
I'm
so.
thinking about a fight, I'm thinking about just yelling.
They'd be worried about where the blood might get, I think, more than wanting to fight. They're too proper for that. The scandal it could cause.
Oh dear. I can go with you if you want to. If you just need moral support.
I mean, if you really want to.
Oh yeah, I always like seeing how the other half lives.
Well, get fancy, let's go. She will put on the fanciest damn thing she owns.
So does Lilac, but it's not it's not all that fancy. I mean, it's a perfectly nice dress. But...
Yeah. Vivian will loan anything that may help fancy it up.
Here's my ring. Where does a belt?
This bracelet.
Lilac's
Here you
not
go.
quite that small, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, here's a bracelet.
Yes.
Here's a bandolier.
The bracelet is a bandolier.
You just hand her grenades.
I just keep thinking of
Necklace of fireball.
there was a barbarian walking around. He had like a great sword, and then you found out no, he met a giant while going through the mountains. That's his toothpick.
So Lilac gets all gussed up. All right, we're gonna take a cab, or are you gonna call Mr. Anderson?
The look she gives Lilac, I don't think either of us should walk being this fancy. Our luck will trip into something or get splashed with something. It's close enough to at least walk to the office. We'll walk to the office, knock on the door.
To y'all's office or to Michael's office?
Would he be keeping office hours? Or just researching, like at his personal residence?
Probably not so much office hours. Well, for one thing, he's on administrative leave.
We'll just go up and knock on the house door then.
And while he does like personal, opens the door, he's basically just in slacks and shirt, and he's like,
Hi.
"Hello."
Hi.
It's fancy, I know. Yeah,
Hello,
Lilac's
Lilac.
here as well.
Do I want to know?
I can explain it later, but would you mind giving me a ride to my parents?
Do I need to ask Salvador for his rifle?
Probably not.
He looks to Lilac.
Pistols would be more useful indoors.
Fair.
There's probably no need for firearms, honestly.
Come in, get out of the cold. Come on.
Yeah, steps inside.
I was just making some, heating up some breakfast again. Got hungry. Y'all want something?
I'll get something on this and ruin the whole outfit.
If you got something
I'll
handy,
just
I'll take it.
stand.
It's nothing fancy. It's basically just like toast and eggs.
Lilac's a flyer. Flying burns a lot of energy.
Like a hummingbird with sass.
Yeah, he'll just sort of gesture to the kitchen. He's like, "Yeah, take what you want." It's literally like,
Don't say that to her.
Why?
Lilac looks
Look.
terribly offended.
Looks at Lilac. Don't.
Don't give me
He's a
those puppy dog
friend.
eyes.
Behave.
He
Ignore.
basically gives Lilac directions to the kitchen, which I realize in a house his size might need.
Over there, left, right, left, right.
She comments
Yeah,
on the overall floor plan. How several houses in this city seem to use very similar floor plans.
I don't want to know how you know that.
Not archaeology. Architecture is my passion. Which Vivian
sure
is
it
only
is.
is only a slight exaggeration. You do find her reading architectural stuff semi regularly.
She researches it, but I'm not sure for what.
I can hazard a guess. So, you want to go visit your parents?
Better to visit them now before they just show up randomly.
Fair. And considering you and her are both dressed up to the nines, you want to show up in a very nice looking car as well.
I was gonna ask Teak, but she kind of kiboshed that.
Considering what I know of your parents, that would be a bad idea.
Teak doesn't
Kind of be
project
funny though. You don't have to come inside.
Do you want
Just-
me inside?
from the kitchen here. You should really come inside.
It's a mouthful.
I don't know. I know they will say things, and I know you like to say things. You like to talk. You're very good at it.
Yeah, that is my job, is talking.
But maybe not the first visit.
Tell you what, I'll drive you there.
Hmm.
You let me know if you want me to come with you or not inside. And if so, I will enter that viper's nest. If not, I will remain outside until you're done.
If I'm not out like in an hour, come knock on the door.
4 hours later.
As Michael or as Mr. Anderson?
You're good with that kind of thing. You can figure it out. On the fly. I'm just looking to survive conversation.
Right. Okay then.
I'm sure Lilac will say enough.
Well, all right. Let me get dressed in something more presentable than just being in my house, and I'll give you a ride.
Thanks.
I goes,
Right.
and I must say, for in case Lilac decides to lilac, his house
Yeah.
is it's definitely like, it's very obvious he's of an affluent lifestyle. There's like a few, like, if you know where to look, there's a few like elven touches here or there. Enormous library. He has a lot of books. And a lot of like notebooks with writings and things of like maybe sort of like nonsensical sayings, or perhaps could be like a poem or a song of some kind that he just happens to be occupying his mind with as he writes, or things that don't really kind of make sense put together unless you have the context behind it, sort of a thing.
For some reason, an elven haiku is sitting up on a tapestry.
There once was a man from Nantucket.
Ha ha ha.
Except an oven.
No.
But yeah, and there's definitely some plants. He keeps plants.
It's all right. So you
Just
go
to
off to
liven him up.
dress.
Yeah.
You know, as you're leaving, Lilac comes back in with a with a last little piece of toast. And she's looking around at your stuff. You have a beautiful hall as you walk on.
He eventually comes back like, how he comes back dressed. I'll let you and Zale, let you and Lilac do that in the house if you so desire to converse. But the outfit he comes back in is basically the I'm about to go into battle, and this battle is the courtroom outfit.
So it's a very nice suit.
Yeah.
She does tell I like, please don't steal anything. He's my friend.
First off, I'm hurt that you imply such things about me.
Lilac,
And two,
really.
yeah, he's a friend. I've got some standards.
I know.
Even at my
I'm
worst,
just
I have some standards.
I'm just being paranoid.
Though if he ever makes you really mad, let me know. He's got some nice stuff.
You will be the first. We can steal something together.
Also, and she like takes you by the cheeks and focus. I do not appreciate you implying things in front of the DA.
He's not dumb. And I might have implied them before. He won't. Yeah, you're fine. Don't get caught.
Well, I've got the courier job now, so I'm sure.
Yeah, you're on the level. You don't have to worry about anything.
That point, you hear coming back. Oh, so you run a courier business now?
No, I work for one.
Oh.
And then she kind of wolf whistles when she sees you in the full suit.
Though knowing her, she'll probably own it in a couple months' time.
No, I've seen some of the paperwork.
Fair enough. Paperwork's hell. All right.
And it's like, well, thank you, Lilac. And he turns to he's like, Vivian,
Lead the
good
way.
enough?
Yes, you look very handsome.
Thank you.
All right.
You both look lovely.
So you drive, with no incidents. You get there no problem. You're familiar
car
with
chase scene.
where she lived. Her parents haven't moved or
He's-
anything.
He's not pulling a teak.
Somehow we
Hey,
drift
it
around.
didn't go well for Teak the first time, okay?
Hit the same mailbox.
Let's not just say we did. I will say, kind of as a point of order, does he spot anybody like watching his house as he leaves?
No.
Okay.
So you know it's definitely one of the nicer neighborhoods.
Mhm.
It's got a nice, it's not like it's a large house. It's not on a huge lot because you are in a city. But there's a little bit of a garden, a little hedgerow over here, and as you walk up, there are a couple of sprites puttering around
Mhm.
in the garden.
E.
It's very traditional to have fairy gardeners.
Well, into the lion's den.
If I don't come out in an hour, yeah. Lilac, if I don't come out in an hour, come get him.
Will do. And she flutters, but when you step out of the car, she flutters up next to you.
I'll try not to make this any longer than it needs to be. Kind of pats the car.
How long has it been since you talked to your folks?
Oh, they were at the wedding.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They've probably heard things, but
Yeah, I imagine the high society probably talked about the
the whole thing.
Yeah, the separation thing. Yeah.
The incidents. Yep, let's go. Square shoulders. Straight ahead. Murder.
Think
Like
murder.
follows next to you. You know, gives a little nod to any of the fair folk that y'all pass close to. Vivian, you don't recognize any of the gardeners just off the top of your head,
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
and they don't particularly react because you're dressed, appropriate
Dressed like I'm
to be here.
dressed and walking like I should be here.
And the guys are paying more attention to Lilac anyway.
To be fair, yes. Goes up, knocks on the door.
You wait a minute. The door opens. An older gentleman is standing there. Yes, may I help? Miss Vivian.
Hello.
You recognize Marvin. He has been a butler for your parents for quite some time.
Mr. Marvin, is Mom or Dad home?
Oh yes, they're upstairs. Probably in the sitting room at this point. Please come in. I'm sure they'll be delighted to see you.
Let's not get hasty.
There was a little bit of hesitance in his voice. He seems to be glad to see you.
She does give him a hug.
He awkwardly returns it. Yeah, it's not really proper for you. But he's known you since you were a little girl, so it's.
He'll get over it. I know my way. I'll go find them.
Oh, she shuts the words you and like. I certainly don't mind showing you the way, or
She'll let him lead then. While they're walking, how have things been here?
Oh, quite well, quite well. Your mother and father have been very healthy. Things have gone well.
We never decided if she has siblings or not.
Not that Vivian's aware of. However, Marvin does. We talking about. Yeah. How are your parents? Doing quite well. Everyone's been healthy. Little Hyacinth is growing like a weed.
Hyacinth?
Yes. Very precocious little child. And then he catches the look on your face. And he looks questioning for a second. And then he just says, "Oh, crap."
It's been a couple years.
5, I believe.
I'm sure yeah, about that much. I'm sure the letter just got misplaced.
Undoubtedly. Anyway, here we are.
Thank you.
He opens the door. He glances in. You only see your father at first. Sir, yes, Miss Vivian's here.
Hello, Father.
He stands up out of his chair. He sets his book down. I had heard you were back in town.
It seemed better to come back here than to remain there.
Well, I suppose it would be awkward if your husband returned and found you had divorced him.
Oh, no more awkward than him disappearing, being presumed dead, and leaving me with no means of living.
I don't believe he was presumed dead until you did the paperwork.
It had been quite some time. and he had been a bit inebriated when he left.
Well, be that as it may, it was quite a stressful time for your mother and me.
I'm quite sure it was very stressful for you. My apologies.
Well, yes, water under the bridge, I suppose. How long have you been back in town?
Only a month and a half, 2 months, maybe a little bit more. Time flies.
Tail end of last year, for sure.
Things have been very busy. I apologize for not making time sooner.
Oh yes, they've heard about the little kerfluffle you were involved in. About that time, you hear your mother's voice. Do we have guests? Who is it, dear? And when your mother steps in, she's holding what looks to be probably a 3-year-old.
Hello, Mother.
Vivian. Well, I wasn't certain we were ever going to get a visit from you.
As I was telling Father, it's been quite busy. I apologize for not making the time earlier.
Yes, we've all been quite busy.
I imagine so, and kind of looks at the 3-year-old. If I remember stories of myself at that age.
Oh yes, you were quite a handful. I'm sure this one will grow out of that, though. Betsy, and one of the maids comes in. Please put Hyacinth down for it now. So what brings you by, dear? What do you need?
I don't need anything. I was just checking in, making sure you were both still well.
Oh yes, of course we are.
She's like really wishing, like, man, this is awkward. I wish I had something to do with my hands.
And glancing over, you see Lilac looks even more awkward because, nobody's acknowledged her existence, and she doesn't really want to butt in.
She'll knows. My friend, Lilac.
Your mother just stays focused on you. Your father at least goes, it's a pleasure to meet you. And then right back to you.
The tone changes in her a bit. She's like, if you have something to say, say it. It's the three of us here, and I trust Lilac implicitly.
And your mother just goes, really, divorce? If you were short on funds, you could have come back and stayed with us until
He was an angry drunkard and beat me, and then ran away one night drunk and disappeared.
Be that as
very
it
glad
may,
Michael's not in that room.
Certainly, I make no excuses for a man putting his hands on a woman. It's certainly your father has never done such. But it takes two to fight. Sorry, trying to be 20s, trying to be 1920s.
Oh no, I feel you. I feel the 20s, but
Fool.
I watched Jason cringe as he said that.
oh yeah, no, I felt that.
Yeah.
It's definitely cringeworthy.
She, like, the jaw sets. She's like, and I was always taught to have manners, so fighting back was a bit difficult. And it's a little hard to do when the aggressor outweighs you by a good 100 pounds and knows how to fight.
Lilac is looking less awkward now and more pissed.
Kind of like quick, like side-eyed, like we will talk about this later.
Well,
Talk about this in the car.
Lilac worked for the guy, so it's not like she doesn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what went on there. But yeah, your parents' reaction is setting her teeth on the edge for sure.
Yeah.
But your father, certainly, if you'd come to us, certainly we wouldn't have let him put his hands on you.
I tried, but I have a feeling that the same letters that I missed, you missed as well.
Father looks confused for a second, and then he kind of catches on. Oh, yes, well,
Isolation is a weapon as well.
The divorce caused ripples in our social circles around here, and of course we weren't sure exactly where you had moved initially. Excuse.
I'm sure, given a few years, the social circle will welcome you back. After all, Hyacinth seems adorable. She can be the daughter you deserve, a golden child.
Your mother's. Well, yes, we are. Trying to shield her from negative influences. I'm sure she'll grow up to be quite the obedient, dutiful daughter.
I'm sure she will. Under such guidance, how could she be anything less? Well, I apologize to cut the meeting short, but I do have an appointment to keep. But it has been enlightening seeing you guys again. My door is always open.
Yes, well, and your father's like, yes, well, you're welcome back. Just call in advance.
Of course. I'll make sure to use the kitchen door next time, and she turns.
It takes a second for Lilac to follow you. It's like she is biting her tongue and just fuming as she steps out the door with you.
Like very, very quiet to her. Like once they're outside the door, we are going to go get drinks. Maybe the Dwarven Brewers Guild will owe us this.
I do know where a lot of the speakeasies are.
And Lilac suddenly has a Molotov. So, yay or nay?
What are we holding on to, Mr. Frodo? This Molotov, throw it quick.
It's just a sign. You want me to kill them?
It's like, let's go. I'm sure the company's better outside.
The funny thing is, I literally imagine like a bunch of like 20s ladies with fans just, oh my.
That would be Regency, more than 20.
I don't know. Down in the South, at least, I think the fans are still kind of a big deal. As much out of necessity as anything.
Yeah, it's more necessity than. Because it'd be hot, yo.
But I know even when I was a kid, the older ladies at church always had fans. Wasn't always like fancy ones. It was a lot of times it'd just be cardboard,
Oh yeah, some kind of fan
they
implement.
Would stick, they could be supplied on the benches. But anyway, so you come out, and so some of the fairy guys are kind of smiling, trying to catch Lilac's eye again, and they see the look on her face, and they're like, "Ooh," and right back to work.
The murder on her face is real. Oh shit. We will go back out to wherever they agreed to meet back up as far as vehiculars. Probably fairly close.
Oh yeah, he probably just parked down the road a little bit.
Yeah, he just parked and then waited.
Gets in, closes the door, waits for Lilac to go off like she's counting down a grenade.
How good is your understanding of Elvish, Mr. Anderson?
He's fluent.
Okay, so you recognize most of the profanity she's using.
Yeah. I specifically went and looked up the skill. If you have over 50% training skill in another language, you're considered to be fluent in the language.
But
It's not like flawless fluency. He definitely has an accent whenever he speaks it,
Yeah.
but
Minnesotan Elvish accent. From Michigan.
Minnesota.
Oh
Over
yeah,
the
you
bridge.
betcha.
Yeah.
I guess I scooch on by ya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he like pauses, turns to look at Lilac, and then looks at Vivian's like, "That good, huh?"
About as well as expected.
what is
I have a little
wrong with
sister.
those people? It's like drops back in English. And how in the world did you come out of that house?
Oh, I was probably just as bad at certain times.
Oh, I feel sorry for that baby.
Yeah. I have a sister. Apparently. She looks young.
I see.
It seems a waste to waste this fanciness. Lilac, do you know any good places to go that aren't questionable in legality considering current company?
There are no legal speakeasies?
Oh yeah. Like she had forgotten that.
Sorry, Mikey, you'll have to drop us off. But this one needs a drink.
He just sighs.
Still ashamed to waste his fanciness. I'll pay you back for the drive.
You don't need to, you know that.
I know. Coffee or something.
Yes, it's a
Maybe
date
not
then.
quite this fancy. Sure. Yeah.
And suddenly Lilac.
Lilac has like got emotional whiplash roller coaster here.
But no, now she's just gotten very quiet and she's smiling at you both now.
My plan, it's working.
You know, I do know where there's a really nice restaurant. I mean, I got some other stuff I could be doing. Yeah, maybe the two of you want to catch lunch.
He kind
Looks at him in the mirror like, ball is in your court.
She looks at Michael.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's like, well, if you want to, I have time.
Oh yeah, you're still on leave.
All right. So Lilac has
We'll go
manipulated
have
you.
lunch.
Has manipulated you two into having lunch together. Where she heads off to do whatever. Certainly not double back and start chasing Vivian's parents' place.
If she does and she lets Vivian know, she will tell her where all the good stuff was hidden when she was a kid.
All right. Charlie, are you with us?
Yes, I am alive. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. This has been a very long downtime session.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think the last one did the same though.
Would she have gotten any hits on like orchestral things that would have been hiring or
she got a couple of
bands?
She's called around to a few establishments, to a few other musicians she knows, and she's got a few places she can check.
Okay, I'll just roll the practice for musical skill and add that into any of my skills.
Yeah, because
in the background.
That whole scene would have been the first week, so yeah, if you spend the rest of the week, you can get some practice.
All of the speed run of orcs, dwarves, Zoot, parents would have been first week.
Zoot's headed out of town. You know, he's got to get back to his practice in Chicago. He's been doing research on the Corona brother that had died, but he's not really coming up with anything. Secretive family.
She offers, like, if she can get some time to talk to the sister, she'll send him some information. But we can do that later.
Yeah.
So we do have the number for Rilla Corona. So
Yeah.
we can get them in contact.
But yeah, that would be off screen. Like,
So yeah, if you want to make 3 checks for your
perform.
for any kind of perform skill.
All right. And then it's a D6 for the 2 successes.
Well, remember you want to fail because you want to roll higher than your.
Damn it.
So
Okay.
a D6 for the 1.
All right.
That's not too bad on a D6. All right. So over to Charlie. Charlie, what are you spending this month doing?
Besides working?
Yeah. Like,
He
for
works at the
example, a lot of the
hospital.
guys were either carrying on investigations or wrapping up personal plot points, or training in
think.
skills. Is there anything Charlie would be trying to train in?
Probably, yeah. Maybe biology. Since she does surgeries and stuff, I think, still.
All right. Well, that surgeries would fall under medicine.
Yes. So would it be under first aid?
No, medicine.
Where's
Surgeries would fall under
medicine?
Where
Okay,
first
I
aid
have
is,
I have biology. I can actually work on getting surgery up there, yeah. I just don't know what I would roll for that though. Medicine, right?
I can save this frog.
All right. Okay. So your medicine is lower than I was thinking it was. So yeah, you could be doing night classes and stuff, or day classes, whatever classes when you're not working.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me. Let's see. With a 25 medicine, you're probably a nurse.
No, not 25 medicine. You look at the other one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we had multiple sheets with you. I probably grabbed the wrong.
Yes, the other one. Yes. Yes.
Well, where is it then? Ah, there, Dr. Charlie. There we go.
Yes, I put that so I knew which one to click on.
Let me just quickly. Delete the not Dr. Charlie one. There we go.
Thank you.
No confusion now. All right, so your medicine is 55. Okay, your biology. So yeah, you could be, if you wanted to increase the biology, you could be taking night classes.
But what if I want to add surgery as a thing that I know?
Do I
roll
surgery
medicine?
just falls under medicine?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Then yeah, let's increase my medicine.
Okay.
So I just roll and hope to fail, right?
That is correct. So you're doing a rotation basically in the emergency room. So there's a lot of emergency surgeries. We're going to treat this like training, even though it's really more on the job. But you're trying to get better at something, so you're intentionally taking shifts doing this particular thing.
I failed the roll. So.
Yep. All right. And then you
roll the 1d6.
I rolled 5. Increase your medicine by 5.
Yeah, medicine's now 60. Woo!
Excellent. So now you get 4 somethings you can do because you've got 4 weeks of downtime. So is there anything else you want to do, or is Charlie just going to hunker down and focus solely on
Probably 2 weeks on medicine and then 2 weeks in own language.
All right, give me another roll for medicine then. All right, it doesn't go up that time. And then you said language.
Yeah. I fumbled.
Okay, hang on a second. Because your own language.
Your own language, I think you would have like an instant fluency in, so you would know Elvish.
Would I?
It's intelligence and education. Though we're not using education. Yeah, there's a default something for your native language.
Oh. Well,
Now,
when it said,
you would
oh,
have
like,
to
it did, like,
you would have to
numbers.
decide, is your native language English or Elven?
It would be Elven.
Okay.
So for your own native language,
Would it be at 100 then?
No, it's like I think it's your int times 5. I want to say. It's hold on.
And I think Elvish and English we decided
Yeah,
were
it is int times
like
5.
you
Okay,
could
so
be
then
fluent in
that's
both.
That's right. Both of those would count as your own language.
Yeah, because it was
Okay.
like halfling language was lost, I think. So
Okay.
Right. So they
that
just
you would
have
know.
like whatever country they were
English.
raised in.
Oh, well then
Yeah.
my language would probably be at 100. Because I think for doctor I chose own language to up it by X amount of points.
All right.
Well, what's
Most
your-
characters begin knowing their own language at intelligence.
My
times
int is
5.
19
Yeah, so 19 times 5.
is 95.
Yes.
Well, then,
Okay.
then
Okay.
that's
So
your
you're a
percentage.
super fluent. You're very well spoken.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then
Well
other
then I
language,
guess
you need to pick.
I
what-
would probably do other language. It would probably be English.
Well, since
Or-
since we're based in America, we're going to consider Elvish and English as your own language.
Okay.
So other language, maybe you're trying to pick up Spanish or French or
Dwarvish.
dwarf or one of the other strange folks.
Mm,
You could be a translator when you have someone come in the hospital.
True. Same thing with orc.
So
Yep.
yeah, just pick what language it's going to be and put replace the other with that language.
Or Charlie could be different and learn Cobalt.
Do Kobold have spoken
I
language?
don't know that kobolds had their own language.
Oh, do they not?
I'm looking to see if the PDF said anything.
Yeah, that's one off the top of my head that I don't actually remember.
Car, do you have Cobalt as a language?
I think he stepped away, but I will look.
He
at
is
his
AFK
sheet.
at the moment.
Yes.
Oh.
And the one
Car
I
said
downloaded
when
doesn't
we
have
start-
Kobold.
Car said when we start, you said they did. It sounds like tipping.
Yipping.
Yipping.
That's
Yipping.
right. Yes. Okay. Yes. You could definitely learn kobold then.
You know what? Yeah. That's what it's going to be. Cobalt.
I think his is also lower than it should be. Oh no, his int's a 9. That's probably about right. Okay.
Mm.
Teak sounds like he's from the streets.
Okay. So then I'll re-roll. It's one failure. That's a special, so I guess I roll 1d6.
Yep.
5.
All right, add 5 to it. So 35. So it's you can speak you can pretty well speak average conversation with people.
Mhm.
Heavily accented. Oh, I'm now picturing the future where furries all learn kobold,
No.
so they can actually talk.
It sounds like yipping, so
I need
yeah.
brain
Yeah,
bleach.
yeah. What I heard. Yeah,
Kobold
what I heard
or Barkling.
what I
and
heard.
they
the
decide which
yipping,
is better.
That is that is unfortunately the first place my mind went. It was like, that sounds a lot like, oh no.
Yeah, furries would probably use Barkling. Scalies would use kobold.
The IT departments at so many places are just a mess.
See, what's funny about this is the first place my brain went to was just, Charlie and Teak just barking at each other.
Apologies. Did I
And
miss
not
anything?
deep, gruff, manly bark like from a German Shepherd. This is like 2 Chihuahuas talking. All right, so the rest of the town or city in the meantime The peace is holding between the Dwarven Brewers Guild and the orcs. The attempted assassination has things tense. But nobody really knows. Like, nobody has found any information on who took a shot at Marduk. It's not like the man don't have plenty of enemies. But it does leave things tense, you know. That's not the only tension in the city, though. As I know I mentioned before, there have been tensions down at the docks. In this preceding month, there's been a handful of protests. Some people in the city government have been threatening a crackdown on unions. In the 1920s, you had a lot of union activity, but after World War I, there was a slight backlash against unions. Some of it had to do with companies, pushing that narrative sort of thing, but but the dock workers are fed up with from what they're saying, are fed up with their conditions. There haven't been any actual riots yet, but a couple of the protests have gotten right on the cusp of it. And we will end with one of you getting a phone call. Who wants to be the one manning the office phone the day this call comes
I'll
in?
do it. Salvador will do it. He's as much as he's slaying low, he's also not doing he's also objectively not doing a lot compared to everyone else this month or this last month. He's like waiting for letters.
So you get a call.
But yes.
Oh well,
he'll answer.
Mickey's
The
office
office
gets a
will
call.
answer.
Y'all's office gets a call.
Yep.
We really need to get a team name at some point.
We do have one. It's the Bayorn.
Yeah, you get a Bayorn.
Oh yeah. Need to get that on the door.
You probably need to get that put on the board. Bayorn Investigation, or Bayorn Protective Services.
Just a symbol for the Bayorn.
I think Salvador, as with that in mind, is going to answer the phone and goes, Bayorn Investigators.
Bayorn and Associates.
I think he's mentally testing the name out as just saying it out loud.
Getting the flavor for it.
Bayorn, Bayorn, Antique.
Salvador answers, goes, Bayorn Investigators. How can we help?
Hello, my name is Clifford Scott.
Okay. You hear the Clifford would hear like scribbling noises as Salvador scrawls notes.
I work for the Dock Workers Union.
Okay. Did a riot break out?
It's probably going to.
Okay.
Things have been tense. I'm sure you've seen the news.
Yes.
Take whatever the papers say with a grain of salt. They're pretty well on the take. The mayor is very anti-union.
Okay. How can we help you?
We've got some people missing, and we found a body floating in the lake.
All right, and I think we cinematically end it where Salvador's like, all right,
and
give me an address,
and we will pick up there next week.
Let me get the crew together.
Yeah.
Death at the docks. All right. Well, I hope y'all had fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of waiting
more.
around for some of you.
Yep.
But
I'm learning more and more that these what we did in the last month sessions are just going to be the whole session, and I've just come to terms with it just because that's the nature of this this system.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times going forward, if y'all are just focusing on training, we'll zip through them. But there was stuff. There was Michael's thing to wrap up. I really wanted the scene with Vivian's parents. I really wanted Leo's bit with the some of that I didn't want to do off camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll find a quicker way to get through some of this.
Yep. That's all good.
Could always pre-roll the training stuff before session next break.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Especially since we meet up, a half hour early.
Yeah.
Most of us.
Yeah,
Close enough.
Teak was just, I train gun.
What does a kobold have there? A rifle! No!
I just picture Teak
The
being so
rifle's as
focused on
big
the
as
rifle
him.
that, like, other people, if it's modern day, other people would be, like, calling in and getting put on a watch list.
Vivian actually went there first to try and get a ride, but he just did not look up from the rifle. Just backed out really slowly.
All of a sudden, imagine Teak sitting in a classroom with Mo from The Simpsons teaching him dance battling. That's where he learns the gun.
You went to a better place than me. I'm sitting there thinking of Teak
Full Metal Jacket.
This is my gun. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
I went there unfortunately as well.
I am in a world safe for work.
But anyway, so I hope anybody that came by and watches enjoyed it. I hope you'll join us next time. Again, I was your storyteller for the evening, and joining me tonight was Rappy playing Charlie. Dr. Charlie.
I had to make sure I knew which character I was playing.
Jeremy playing Salvador.
Change back.
Eric playing Michael Anderson. Sarah playing Vivian. Patrick playing Leo. And did I say Carr playing Teak already? I forgot who I started with.
No.
Started with me.
And we will see y'all next time.
He's good at say Carr playing Teak.
Yep.
And Carr playing T.
I kind of said it as I was asking if I was saying it.
Tune in next week. Same Bjorn time, same Bjorn channel.
Holly's light, for in the night the shadows grow and take with them your troubled soul.